All I keep thinking about is that scene in Princess Diaries when her hair's done like a mousse and the hairdresser's like, yes, but a pretty mousse make all the other boy mousse go Shwaa! That's what I assume they sound like. I guess we'll find out because we're definitely going to see one.
That's the spirit.
Yesterday we drove the Icefields Parkway, which is this amazing scenic drive between Banff and Jasper, where we have woken up this morning. Jasper looks like an incredibly cute small town that we are so excited to check out today, but it does look kind of small. So we thought, since today is our 5th day in the van, why not give you a tour of our new tiny home? And this is pretty much it, but there is some really cool features to show. On the right, we have some little hooks where we've been hanging up our coats and towels. We have a cooler and another like fridge option that you plug in. I don't really know why there's two. There's a doormat and space to put your shoes, and then we have our big cozy bed. We have been sleeping surprisingly well in this thing. The only issue is it's been getting down to like -6 at night, so we do get pretty chilly. To the left of us, we have this cool little wooden shelf that actually opens up and you can store a bunch of things in there. We also have this beautiful open shelf where we've just been dumping all of our bags during the day. The best part about the back of the van is this. How cool are these doors? They actually fold all the way back. Like you can unhinge them somehow and click them away so you have uninterrupted views out of this back window. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to take advantage of this too much because it's been freezing cold.
There's also a lot of storage underneath the bed in the back of the van. We only really have our suitcases and deck chairs in there, but there is a toilet if we wanted to use it.
We do have a bigger than expected kitchen as well. I put that in inverted commas because you can't actually cook anything inside. It's all a propane tank and a portable cooktop that you have to take outside of the van to use. But there is plenty of storage and they all have these cool like handles that pop out so it can make sure everything is sturdy while we're driving. We have a sink that doesn't work. That is because it's technically winter though, so our water tank is disconnected. It actually lives up here in the sink while we're out adventuring during the day just to avoid it from freezing.
As Emily said, our water isn't plumbed in at the moment, so this is our clean water, and the only thing left in here is our fire extinguisher and then our grey water, or the van lifers call it, which we need to figure out how to dump because we need to do that soon.
We also have some dish soap. Most importantly, a thing of coffee, which we've hardly been making because you have to cook outside. It's so cold to go out in the morning and make it. Jordan did it one morning when it was legitimately snowing. That's pretty much it. Other than that, it's the cabin. Is that what it's called?
So this is a 2021 Ford Transit van, obviously completely converted into what is now an $80,000 to $100,000 camper van. The cabin is set up pretty much as you would expect. One thing I really like is the accessibility for the USBs here. We got one in the middle and one on the driver's side. Bluetooth connectivity obviously makes things a lot easier when you're on the road too. And I have all the buttons and controls here, which is great. Considering how tall it is at 10 foot and a 22-foot wheelbase, it drives really, really easily. And the visibility is nuts. I think I said it in one of the first videos we did. The almost full vision windows all around us just makes everything look so good, so clear. And as we're driving, it charges the batteries. So there are actually two things that are charging the batteries. So this is kind of the control hub or the brain of the van. It's got all of our electronic details here, as well as turning the heater on and off. All we really know from the preview videos is that we don't want to let the voltage fall below 12. We've had pretty cold nights actually by not using the heating, which we could have used, we just decided not to and rug up instead. It is charged by the engine and also by the solar panels on the roof. So if you're getting a sunny day, which we have had more than our fair share of, I think, we get power through the whole day.
The heater is surprisingly good as well. They suggest during winter time to leave it on just at 10 degrees when you leave the van, and you come back and it honestly feels so warm. It doesn't feel like 10 degrees. It feels like a cozy hug after a long day. It's so nice. You only really need it on for 10 minutes at night as well. So we pump it for 10 minutes at 18 degrees at night, get all toasty warm, and then try and fall asleep. It's been so much fun. It's such a learning curve getting used to van life, but we are absolutely loving it. I could so easily do this. Definitely the only negative about doing Canadian van life in winter is that we don't want to hop out of the van to make coffee in the morning. So we haven't had one yet. So I think it's time to call into Jasper and get a big cup of joe. This morning we woke up kind of early because we were pretty cold, and we decided to go on our first ever game drive, which was really fun. Essentially you just drive around real slow looking for animals.
Yeah, we did have pretty high expectations, and we were the only people on the road, so we thought for sure no one scared anything away. We're seeing something.
And we did see something, we just didn't see a moose.
We didn't see a moose. We've since talked to a couple of park rangers here where we stayed. And she said she knew a guy who came to this region of Canada 5 years in a row and only saw a moose on the 5th year. So they are a lot more elusive than what the internet will lead you to believe.
Yeah, but we were super lucky and we get to cross off another animal off of our list. We saw a bunch of white-tailed deer, which we have seen already, and a bunch of, I think, female elk.
Yeah.
It was so cool. They were just hanging out on the side of the highway, which I found really weird. Like, I thought they'd be hidden and away from people and cars.
Oh, and there's heaps of them.
Yeah.
It was like normal. The ranger also said where she's from, moose are as common as the elk are here. So that would be cool.
It would be so cool, but it's a 6-hour drive in the opposite direction than we're planning on going.
All right, let's get some coffee. Really hitting the spot. Tastes so good.
We just did one of my absolute favourite things, and you just asked the locals what to do. Our plan was to go to Edith Valley Glacier, which would have been amazing, but the road's closed because it's winter. But the lovely people at the cafe recommended this other short, quick hike that's only 15 minutes away. But I think I need a Beavertale to amp me up for that. I need some sugar.
We wanted to get Beavertales as part of our Vancouver food tour, but they didn't exist there, and people hadn't even really heard of them for some reason. But there's a shop called Beavertale here, so if anyone's gonna have them.
Finally got our hands on a Beavertale. We were taking a while to choose which flavour we wanted, and the guy suggested avalanche, original, or maple. And we thought maple sounded too Canadian to not try, and avalanche was like this cheesecakey flavour that sounded really good to me. They look like just flat donuts topped with stuff. I think this is the maple one. He was putting the maple on and it looked so dark and like creamy that I thought he messed up the order and was putting chocolate on top. The day's halfway over. I was going to say what a way to start the day, but it would be a good way to start the day. I am so glad that we got the chance to try Beavertales, because when we were Googling them and researching for the food tour day, they just seemed like they would be amazing, and they really, really are. Plan for the rest of the day. I think we have 3 things to choose from right now that we need to discuss, and then we're just going to drive back in the direction of Whistler and try and get as far as we can, and hopefully get a free camping site for tonight.
I don't really know what I'm trying. It's really good, but I can't describe it very well.
It's like salty and sweet, right?
It's weird. Yeah, salty and sweet together. I think I prefer the avalanche.
I also prefer that Overwatch.
Okay.
Okay, so here are our options in my book. We go to the Old Fort hike that she recommended, which is like 1 to 2 hours, apparently. Yeah. Valley of the Five, which is 2 hours, I think. 1.5 to 2 hours. We drive Mullane Lake again in hopes of seeing a moose and maybe just stop at the viewpoints that we didn't stop at and then head.
Mullane Lake.
Yeah, I think so too. Every person we've spoken to and said that we really want to see a moose, they're like, oh, go to Mullane Lake and go on that drive, which is what we did this morning. But I guess different times of day, they're doing different stuff.
Might as well try it again. I think we'd be kicking ourselves if we didn't give us every opportunity to try and see this moose.
Yeah, and as much as a hike sounds great today and like the weather's decent, I'm kind of tired. I'd rather just go for a drive and try and see a moose.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah! I can't believe we're going to see a moose today. Positive thinking.
Stay positive.
Do your best moose impression. Okay. you did it.
I pre-authorized up to 60 and I landed there. God, getting used to this van life thing.
15 minutes till we see a moose.
Okay, so... Okay.
You look great, guys.
Bear right onto Lodge Road.
Alright, buddy, on you first. We saw a female elk pretty much straight away, and it was a gorgeous one. It had the longest ears. Remind us of our boy at home.
I'm not even sure if it was an elk.
I don't know, but it was really cute.
His ears were literally the size of his head. Like his head was doubled in ear length.
And we've driven about 20 meters down the road, and there's a frozen lake that I really want to go down to. So Emily said she's going to run on it.
No, I didn't. Happy? It's right there. Okay. No. Why do I have to be your mother?
That was surprisingly solid, right?
Doesn't mean you go walking on it. From the very little we know about mooses, Moosai. They enjoy marshland areas, which apparently this kind of is. It's 2 lakes next to each other and then sort of marshy stuff between. I think there's also somewhere near here that's called like Moose Lookout Point or something. Moose Lake View, something like that. So maybe we'll go there next and then head on our way.
You will need to walk to your destination from there.
Saw a bunch more white-tailed deer, which are just the cutest. Their little ears, they were all laying down next to each other. It was so sweet. It definitely seems like they're maybe akin to like a kangaroo back home. Like they're really cool to see, but the locals don't necessarily care because there was a whole family just like not paying attention to them, which seems crazy to me. The white-tailed deer definitely feels like it's the easiest ones to come across because we have seen a bunch today. Not that I'm complaining, they're so sweet and cute. I love I love how much of a like group activity looking for animals on a game drive turns into. You see one car slightly slow down or stop and you get all excited. We saw one group, they thought they saw a fox, but we didn't see anything, unfortunately. And then there was like a bald eagle's nest you could see up in a tree that another group had spotted. Still no moose though, but we still have like another half hour to go. I really, really want to see one still. Luckily, we still do have time in Canada, so if not today, another day. But I feel like it's going to happen today. I have the moose tingles. Yeah, Spider-Man gets the spider tingles. You get the moose tingles. Yeah, you look epic. Wow!
We saw a few different white-tailed deer and some pretty cute animals and cool lakes and things like that, but time is getting away from us again, which seems to just happen constantly when we're living inside a Bob Ross painting. So we have to get back on the road. We're going to try and make it as far as we can back to Vancouver tonight, but I don't think we're going to get very far.
Also kind of depends on whether we can find a free campsite along the way, because that will be where we stop if we can.